Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we'll go ahead and
Don't
get
forget
started.
to
So,
start the recording.
yep, I did.
Perfect.
So, uh, welcome to today's Informative Friday session, Boggled by Toggles. My name is Molly Velasco, and I will be helping moderate the session today. So just please be aware that this session is being recorded. We highly encourage you to take advantage of the time with our consultants today and ask questions and interact. A quick reminder before we get started, please use the chat feature to ask any questions throughout the presentation, and we'll be sure to address them. A copy of the presentation and a link to the recording will be sent to all registrants. If you're not a registrant and you would like a copy, I will drop my email in the chat and you can send me an email asking to be included.
Well, I mean, they're in fraud, but they're not.
Okay, next slide. So before we jump into the presentation, I just wanted to give a brief background on Nordic and our ERP services for those of you who may not be familiar. So at Nordic, we support our customers' complex, multi-dimensional challenges and opportunities by combining deep clinical and business experience with extensive technical knowledge, providing the strategic counsel and technical guidance needed to achieve your goals by connecting people, data, and technology for a healthier world. Nordic's focus on human-centric healthcare, putting patients and providers at the center of the digital transformation journey, ensures that transformations are focused on sustainable and measurable outcomes. Next slide, Kelly. So as for ERP, if you're thinking about moving to the cloud or going through an ERP selection process, Nordic offers unbiased ERP review and selection services. We can help you identify the benefits of moving to a multi-tenant ERP, manage the selection process, and measure the results. If you've already made the decision to move to the cloud, Nordic's prescriptive implementation process will ensure you follow a best practice approach to get the most out of your software for the least cost in the quickest amount of time. And for organizations that have already made the move to the cloud, at about 6 months after go live and every year thereafter, we recommend that you have an assessment done by Nordic to make sure that you've realized the value of the implementation and are taking advantage of the new features that are being added every other quarter. So Nordic is here for you no matter where you are in the ERP journey. Reach out to one of our solution experts via our website, or you can also email me, and I will drop my email into the chat here. And then finally, we just have a disclaimer that we have to run through. So we do have to let you know that this material is in reference to Infor Cloud Suite. This presentation is for informational purposes only. We just want to provide you with considerations as you make the best decision for your organization. Reliance on the information presented without consultation is at your own risk. We highly recommend that you contact Nordic to discuss how solutions can be tailored specifically to your needs. So with that, I will turn it over to today's presenter, Kelly Gilbert, who is the Director of Service Delivery for HCM and Support Services with Nordic.
Thank you, Molly. Good afternoon, good morning. Thank you all for spending the time with us today to go over Boggled by Toggles. So our agenda today is what is a feature toggle? Then we'll talk about where to find your feature toggles. Then we're talking about where the feature toggles to be deployed in the April CU, upcoming feature toggles and deployment strategy. Also presenting with me today, and if you don't mind introducing yourself, is Tawny Benvenuti.
Hi, I'm Tawny. I am the finance practice manager for supply chain and finance. I both forget what I'm doing. So yes, both teams. Been with Nordic for 3 years now, and am glad to help any finance or supply chain team members that I can.
Thank you, Tawny. And Michael Smith.
All right, can get off mute. Yeah, hi, this is Michael Smith, Mike Smith. I'm practice director here at Nordic over ERP technology.
Thanks, Mike. And Michelle Sunderman.
Hi, good morning or good afternoon. My name is Michelle Sunderman. I am a senior practice manager over the PMs and the tech PMs here at Nordic, and glad to have you all here today.
And then unfortunately I forgot Candace, but Candace Lemholm-Worsham is helping us today as well. Sorry, Candace, I forgot to put you on the slide.
No, absolutely. Hi, I'm Candace. I am the HCM practice manager here at Nordic.
Thank you, Candace. So what is a feature toggle? Feature toggles provide a way to review, understand, and plan for a new feature before it becomes active in all the tenants without impacting existing business processes. So basically, it lets you preview what's going to happen prior to having it deployed in prod. It allows time to prepare the user community for the update, modify internal business processes and workflows, and conduct user orientation. Where to find feature toggles? Infor release reports provide a column that identifies if a toggle exists and if the feature is controlled by a toggle. If it's on, it's turned on at deployment. Off, it's turned off at deployment. Blank means no toggle and is immediately active. So the release training is on Infor Campus for this as well. So at this is none of the new web UI has been deployed in this example. So here's a feature toggles to be deployed in April. See you examples. See how you have the option to enable or not enable these toggles. And then here you have, this was available April of 2024. And the trial period ends April of 2025. Okay, so that's sort of what it looks like. Now, for the folks that already have the web UI deployed, we have the path here, but again, you can see how different it looks. So I'm just going to show you really quick how even like the getting there to the menu looks different. So this is in one of our demo environments. And you see I'm under administrator, and here's my, oopsie, make it larger. Sorry about that. Here's our toggles that are coming out, and here are the ones that will be deployed in April. As well as then here, the web UI has already been deployed. So now look at, I'm under system administration, and this whole path looks a lot different, but we'll be reviewing that as well. But you go here, and then you just go to feature toggles. And again, it'll show you what's deployed and what is not. So let me minimize these really quick. Sorry about that. So for HR talent, feature toggles for the April CU. For payroll, they're going to be threading by payment schedule. Okay, it means there's more threads. The per payment schedule should process faster. You can override threading on calculate payments. That's a new option that's given to you. The payroll columnar reports, April 24 CU and October 24 releases, you now have to use those. And the file creation setup selector. For learning and development, there's a session calendar view for employee, which is really cool. Under HR administration, they redesigned the app navigation menu. The work assignment signature, they have a work assignment synchronization for future dated actions, symmetry redesign, and of course, columnar reports from the October 23rd CU, the April 24th CU, and the October 24th CU. And then the report catalog looks totally different. So prior to deployment, you see employee, administrator, all that fun stuff. On post-deployment, it's still the employee, benefits is still there, compensation is there. But see now, instead of administrator, it's HR administrator. Instead of payroll administrator, it's just payroll. So as you can see, the roles have changed. Also, the configurable features, I think, Candace, if you wouldn't mind speaking on this a little more intelligently than I am, because I know you know this better.
You got it. So configurable features is now in the toggle, feature toggle section. Some of you, this feature itself has been around for quite some time, and you may already have it turned on in the config parameter area. If you do, you don't need to adjust your feature toggle. In fact, I'd encourage you not to. By turning the feature toggle on or off, it might inactivate some of these this setup for you. But what's really nice is if you haven't utilized feature toggles yet in your test environment, go ahead and turn it on. And this actually per role gives you the ability to adjust some of your views or what this role can do without needing to actually adjust your security role via the LPL. So you can see some of our items here are, instead of using another role to give ISD access, you can control it directly here on the role by clicking this. Or you can see in this menu, application menu section, these are some of those items at the bottom for this role that you can turn those on or off if you don't want maybe employees to see jobs or reports. It gives you that control without needing to configure the security role itself. Yes, Michelle?
And I just wanted to add to what Candace said. So many of you may have already done this by role, gone into each of the roles that you have assigned and determine which configurable features you want. We have had some clients that have decided that they want all roles, like all finance roles, to have certain configurable features and all HR roles to have certain configurable features. So we have, with a few of our clients, created some custom roles. Yep. Where it's just specific to the configurable features. And what that allows you to do is to not have to go in role by role and do these configurable features. You can just then assign that configurable feature role to your folks. So I just wanted to add that for anyone that doesn't want to have to go through role by role and do the configurable features.
Yeah, excellent idea. You can also upload to this via ISD. So if you turn this on and you want to set something on or off, or you've identified per role, you could use ISD. But if you haven't enabled configurable features, it's a very powerful option that's now available via the feature toggles.
Thank you, Candace.
Yep, no problem.
And Michelle, greatly appreciated. And the toggles have definitely simplified the options menu. So this is where the, excuse me, the toggle was disabled and print PDF and so on and such forth. Now with it enable, it exports to, reports to, and personalize. So as you can see, it sort of is combining things together to make it a lot easier to work. And now, because it's not all about HR, even though I think the HR people will disagree with that, but now here's some finance features that Tawny's going to discuss with you today.
Well, yeah, finance is the beginning and the end, so we're just as important.
It is. You are.
Yeah.
We
So
like to harass you.
Yeah, I know. So there's 3 of them that are being pushed this April. Kelly, you want to go to the next slide? The first one is a redesign of the app navigation menus for external web applications. So those billing and receivable portal screens, you're going to see a new menu on those. The second one is the LPL, the RSS LPL allocation priority. Kelly, you want to flip to the next screen for me, please?
Yes, ma'am.
I actually have screen prints of this one. When you turn it on, you have the ability to set priorities, and it will default the priority when it creates the requisitions in RSS. So maybe something that you might want to consider. The next one, if you want to hit the next slide, please, is the report catalog. It shows up and appears down in the lower left navigation. The screen now has all of the reports, operational reports, and their active links. You can set favorites with the click of the little yellowish, orangish star. To filter on just those favorites, you would toggle the favorites tag on. If you create reports or have any reports that are assigned to you as owner, you can flip on the My Reports toggle, and those will show up for you. Each one of the modules are listed separately. You can expand those down, and it will list the individual reports in there as well. Otherwise, you can use the search feature and type the name in the search field. This also is moving print files to this page. It is a second tab. I'm going to flip the screen for me, Kelly. And your print files will now show up here, which is very, very nice. I kind of like this little feature. I have all my reports and my print files all in one place.
1 second, Miss Tawny, we have a question.
Yeah.
Shakai? If you can
Shakai,
unmute yourself.
if you want to unmute or if you want to drop it in the chat, I'm also happy to read it for you.
Oh, sorry.
There we go.
Hold on, I'm muted. Yeah, could you go back to the reports tag?
Yes, sir.
Just click on the reports beside. There are many fields here in the report. Just we are produce a auditing report and need some information about the category and field for each report. And how can we get the information of these? Do you know which form this is? If you click on the, Control Shift left, click, the information won't come. But we need to know maybe where the information we can get. Maybe what is the table name for this list?
So you're looking for the business class where
The
all of
business
that
class?
house?
Yeah, I think this is, I believe, and don't hold me to this, but I believe this is a dashboard that Infor has set as a default, and it has created links for each of those reports. So I don't think it's held in a business class itself.
So, but another question is for each report, how can we find out what is its catalog and subcatalog?
It's right there in the listing.
Yeah.
So you would just type in the name of your report and it would filter down to your report name. And then you could see your category and subcategory business class directly in here.
But if we want to produce another report to use that information where we can find it. So we have an auditing report. We have almost all these fields on this list.
So if you have created a report from an existing report or an existing list view, those are going to show up in My Reports. So you would toggle on that My Reports.
No, we want all the reports from here. That's it. We might add some field, but all the field we should be. Let's say, how can we get a report from spreadsheet designer, just like this? Then we can add something on there. Or this is, if you look at other report, you can export the list to a CSV file or etc. But here you got nothing. You can,
Yeah, this is just an easy access to get to reports, to get to the various reports throughout the system. This is not creation of new reports unless you use that create button or create report up at the top that you've taken an existing list view report and modified it yourself.
Let's say if we need a report.
Sorry, guys, if it's okay, I think maybe we should pin this for just now, and maybe we could reach out to you and do maybe like the coffee with consultant or something like that.
Yeah.
I apologize. I just want to make sure we have time.
Sure.
No, it's okay.
These are great questions, but yeah, let's,
Yeah.
I agree. We'll follow up.
So thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Tawny.
Yeah, so the print files are on the second tab of this page. Go ahead and flip the, yep. So they've moved your My Print files to here. Still have all your same options for search. You've got your view link that will export it or open it. Then the next option is the next screen is showing all the options for October 25 that are coming. So those are some of the ones that you may want to turn on in one of your test tenants and see what it's doing, how it's going to react. You'll see a lot of these are web apps. So probably consider what that's gonna do for any of the applications you may be using that those are affected.
Thank
Okay,
you, Ms.
Kelly, back to you.
Thank you, Tawny. I appreciate it. And then here's the upcoming HR talent feature toggles. There's 24 of them. I actually had to do 2 print screens of them. So there is through there and all through here. So again, there's a bunch of different things now. You're going to say, well, Kelly, now what do we do? Well, don't worry. Miss Michelle is going to talk about our deployment strategy.
Thanks, Kelly. So again, many of you may have already enabled some of these toggles, may have already gone through this, and those that went ahead and went into general release, you know, those are already obviously in your production tenants. But for those that are upcoming, either in the April or the upcoming October CU, you know, maybe you're asking yourself, you know, how best do we want to test these? Our recommendation, and this probably seems common sense, is to deploy it in one of your non-production environments, especially because some of the toggles, and especially the consolidated web apps, if you have put together training material and reference material that has screenshots in it with the menus, those are definitely going to change, and you're going to want to make sure that you, one, are able to test very thoroughly the various toggles, and especially around the consolidated web apps. You're gonna most likely need to update some of your training material if you've got menu print screens in there. So for change management purposes, you want to make sure that you over communicate. Notify your end users about what's upcoming, where, what you're going to enable and in what tenants, and then pick your SMEs and those folks that are heavy duty super users, and you're going to want to test all of those toggles just to make sure that it doesn't impact anything that you're already using. And then, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to want to make sure that you update any training materials, any product documentation with the new navigation, and then just continually remind and users of the actual deployment date so that they're not surprised when they log in and they see different menus and they see different options. I did also want to mention, especially around the consolidated web apps, there are some really, really good KB articles, and I'm happy to put those in the chat, or we can send those out later, that actually show you the new mappings for the consolidated web apps. And I also wanted to make sure, especially for those of you who handle security and work with your users more on the technical side, that with the consolidated web apps, there's an additional kind of security piece that you're going to need to be aware of. And that is because with the consolidated web apps, they have really taken multiple roles and that now will share a single web application. So you're going to need to use what's called the UI access control to control and determine which roles can view the consolidated web apps. You can go in and configure, and it'll show you which roles have access to which web apps. If you want to restrict down further, You know, if you say, wait a second, I'll use benefits, for example. If you're in the benefits area and you're noticing that these benefit roles have access to all these different different web apps, and you want to restrict those down, you can go in and configure those that particular role and restrict it down. Or if there are things that are restricted automatically that you feel like, oh, hey, this role and benefit should actually be able to see these two additional things, it's the UI access control that you're going to be using. And we could probably do a whole informative Friday just on that. But Infor does have some very good web sessions on that. And then one of the other things I also wanted to point out that is in one of the KB articles, and I can make sure we get that out to you all, is Infor did a really good job of actually mapping and showing the different mapping of how the menus are set up. And it's very, very informative. And so I've got the KBR articles for that as well.
Thank you, Michelle. Now, really quickly, I'm just going to show you an example of how the web UI is changed. Again, as you can see, this is now system administration. Absence is just absence. Payroll is just payroll. The HR administrator is now HR administration, but this is what I really sort of wanted to show you. So be prepared to go through each of the applications that you're utilizing. For example, administration is now your setup, and your reporting rate is here now. Your regular reporting's over here. Tip reporting's here. Your setup is actually over here. And you see how it looks different. It's all in different tiles. Those are there. Your payroll cycle looks different as well. And this is why it's so important to deploy it as soon as you can and get users up here working on it. Because trust me, the struggle is real trying to find things when you move to the web UI. So again, here's your cycle reports are now here in tiles. Here's where you would look for your employee payments. It just, as you can see, just looks totally different. Your deductions, again, ones that make me giggle. Your one-time deductions now are under maintenance. You find them here under this tile. Your assigning tax deductions are this tile. Very similar is benefits. So under the plans is now where you find all your events. Okay, you're all over there. Resources as here, current, future, historical, all different there. Under maintenance is where we now actually find our processes. And now, as you can see, they're all just different options here. So that's why we highly recommend getting these out to the organization and your end users as soon as possible so they can get comfortable on them. Tanya, did you want to guide me onto any finance stuff so they don't feel left out?
Sure. If you want to, if you click on the controller role or the controller tab.
Yes, ma'am.
It has a very similar look and feel as this. If you want to click on the 9 square icon drop down.
Yep.
And go to FSM. Third one down.
Oh, of course. I'm always at the bottom. Sorry.
I know. I'm at the top. I keep telling you.
I know.
If you go ahead and expand your navigation pane and drop down on your options, your roles.
Oh,
where
sorry.
it says web. Yep. So if you click on like match is a good example. It's no longer match specialist or the actual role name. You now get the same look and feel. So I have the interfaces for match, EDI, etc. I have my auto match tab that gives me my list of auto match jobs that I've run. I have my search invoices option here. real quick, fast way to get to your search, your reconciliation, your aging, etc. So they've taken a lot of those menu-driven items and pushed them more up to the top and across on tabs. A little bit faster to get to things, a little bit more, what do I want to say? Ease of use with the tiles and all the pieces and parts that relate to that particular area.
Agreed. Yes, Miss Candace.
There's a question, and I think it's probably for both of you. Will the existing bookmarks still work for these new web apps and new forms?
Yes, yes, they do. The original navigation is still there, so your bookmarks aren't lost.
Perfect. Minimize this. We just wanted to give you a quick show of what's changing, what to be prepared for. Now, Luke Neal, one of our account executives, is going to talk about Nordic ERP support services.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. I know we threw a lot of information at you guys today. If you need additional support regarding these toggles, I will be sending out some follow-up information early next week about our support services offering. I see a lot of names on the call today that are already engaged with our support services team. So for those of you that already have a support agreement in place with us, feel free to reach out to Kelly, Molly, and myself if you have additional questions here. But just know if you do not, we're happy to support those of you who don't. And like I said, I'll be sending out some additional information on our support services offering early next week. And please respond to that if you have any additional questions. We're happy to help you.
Thank you, Luke. I believe now it's back to Molly.
Yeah, I think we're just going to open it up for any additional questions. I know Candace has been monitoring the chat and answering questions there. But
Typing furiously.
Correct. So feel free to come off mute and ask your question, or Candace, if there's any that you haven't had a chance to.
I believe, and anyone correct me if I'm wrong, that we've answered the questions, but I see Leslie's hand is up.
Leslie just raised her hand.
Thank you. Yes, quick question. There's a lot of columnar reports coming in April, and we know which reports they are. Those are listed under the toggle, but we've been searching for descriptions of the reports so that, for example, there's a position change report that's coming. There's also an employee position change report that's coming. And just a description on what Infor intended each of those reports to do and what their purposes are. Otherwise, I mean, our plan is to go through each one and get very familiar with them, but it would be helpful if we could find a description of reports. Just wondered if you found one. We can't find them.
Leslie, on the HR ones, have you turned the report catalog on yet?
Yes, we've had it for quite some time.
So when you look up the report name, there is a small description under the report name of what it is doing. Have you had a chance to look at those?
Yeah, it's like one sentence.
Yeah, that is
not too helpful, but we were just wondering if there was a more detailed description that y'all knew of.
Not currently, but we can take a look.
We can do some research on that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Leslie, if you want to drop your email in there, or I could just probably send it to everybody, but we'll do some research on that, on what I can do the HR reports. So yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Tani, there's a question that says, can we turn it all, I think it's all on in FSM in our TRN environment? I think all the toggles. Yeah.
Yep.
It's Godwin. Yes, you can, Godwin.
I was going to say, and I tell you every time a CU is implemented, I go out and I turn on all my toggles in our sandbox.
Thank you. It looks like Jedediah has his hand up. Go ahead and come off mute if you'd like. Jedediah, if you're having a hard time with the mic, you can also drop it in the chat and I'm happy to read it also. I don't see anything coming in the chat, so
Jedediah, if you just want to email us what you might have, since we can't seem to get you off of mute. All right, Miss Molly.
Just a
Oh,
quick
he
Oh,
just
there
question.
we go.
dropped.
Where do we find all the KB articles relating to these toggles and like a screenshot of what's changing?
So if you go out to Infor Concierge, I hope nobody minds me taking this one.
No.
You can go out in Infor Concierge. Well, specifically, if you're in Infor Concierge, you can go to the Infor customer portal. And a lot of times it's easiest just to type in kind of what you're looking for. If you're looking for feature toggles, and then Infor has been, much improved their AI kind of search, and it will come up and give you a list of items and KBs that have feature toggle information in them. But again, after this, after our session, I'll pull together kind of a heavy hitter list of the ones that I've seen that have the best information on the feature toggles, including the Innovation Insight weekly webinar series, which I don't know if Jedediah, if you participate in those. If you don't, or for those of you that don't, they're very, very helpful. If you're not able to attend live, they do record them. And there's several KBs. Each year they have a KB that lists all of the sessions. And so I'm happy to send out those KBs that have all of those sessions in there, and those that have the most relevant feature toggle information that I think would be beneficial to this group.
I'm going to add to that, Michelle, because those are all excellent. And also, if you have access to Infor Campus, at least the HR app redesign, there's a number of videos out in there that will show you the changes. And we, to plug us, also did an Informative Friday a few months ago that review many of the HR web app changes.
And you can find that recording on our YouTube. Hey, if there aren't any more questions, then I'll just follow up with, if you find that you have some time thinking about this later today and come up with additional questions, we also have our Coffee with Consultants offering, which allows you 30 minutes of complimentary time with one of our consultants to get your questions answered or even help solve a pain point. So you can go to our website and sign up for that, or in addition, you could send me an email and I can help get you in touch with the right people. And then our Informative Friday series continues next week with an exciting presentation on processing and working purchase order acknowledgements in FSM. Perfect way to spend your Valentine's Day. If you need any help registering, again, please feel free to send me an email and I can help you get registered for that. And you can see we have an additional one coming up on the 28th. And then after that, our next series will start it up again in May. And then hopefully we will see a lot of you at some of the Infor user groups coming up. We are attending the Midwest user group on April 9th, and then we will also be at Infor Connect. And you can see Doug, Dave, and Luke there. Look for them if you're going. So thank you again for joining us today, and thanks to our presenters. I will send out the recording and those KB articles hopefully by the end of today, if not by Monday. So if you aren't a registrant, also send me an email and I'll make sure you're on that list. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.